Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on our this is such an amazing topic, and I cannot find someone braver than Kathy to have this conversation with us. So while I'm setting up to go live on Facebook, and just so you know, this is my third video, and because I don't like to mess around with tech, this is the style. So if you follow me for a while, know that the first few seconds will be me getting all the back-end stuff done. And here, I'll let Kathy talk about her mission and why she's here today. There you go. Off you go.
Hey everybody, I'm Kathi Tait, the Bald Warrior from Australia, and I'm super excited today to come and talk to you guys about my mission, which is all about alopecia. And for you out there that don't know what alopecia is, it's the fancy name for hair loss. Some of you might know what it is. We find it's about 2 or 3 in 10 people that have heard of it or know someone with it. So I'm excited at every opportunity I get to educate people and spread awareness about it, which is why I created the Bald Warrior movement about 4 years ago. And our two big aims are to spread awareness and understanding about what alopecia is and who it affects and how it affects them, and also to fight social norms around body image, because I believe that they are really damaging, especially to our young people, but certainly not only to our young people. And I know that because I've lived it. So my story actually begins when I was 9 years old, and my older sister had died of cancer the year before. And in amongst that happening and the emotional fallout from that trauma never really being dealt with, I believe my alopecia was triggered as a way of my body to manifest some of that emotional trauma physically, just to get it out. So that's how I believe it happened for me. Whether or not that's medically correct, I don't know. But, the doctors don't have a huge amount of understanding, certainly much more they do nowadays than 40 years ago when it first happened to me. 40 years ago, they kind of knew what it was and they blamed stress, and that was it. That was all we got.
It is,
So
isn't it?
yeah, it was super confusing. And I'm sure, I've had long conversations with my mum about this, and it was really tough for her as a parent too. So, wanting to speak to people about awareness and understanding is really important, because the more of us that know what it is and can sort of understand how it affects people, and that there isn't any real cure out there, then the more sort of empathy and compassion we can have out in the community for those of us that really do look different, but we have absolutely no control over it. Now, I've gone to probably what some would call extremes to take my power back over my bald head, with tattoos
Oh, they're stunning.
all over my head, and another set of roses planned down the middle was coming. I've got tattooed eyebrows and tattooed smoky eye eyeliner as well. So I've had my eyebrows done 4 times, my eyeliner done 3 times. The third one was the smoky eye. Tomorrow, I'm going to get my eyebrows done again, because the tattoo ink actually fades. It's different tattoo ink that they use on the face than on the head. Just a side note there. So, yes, I've gone to extremes to take my power back, because I actually spent 30 years hiding myself under wigs. And a tiny bit of that time was under scarves. And there was some, areas in my life in my teenagers and my 20s where my hair was growing back and then falling out, and then growing back and then falling out. And you get stuck in this cycle of hope and despair. It's really mentally damaging. It's crushing. And you think when it grows back, that's it, I've beaten it, I'm fine, it's never going to happen again. And then boom, could be days, could be months, could be years later, it happens again. Excuse me.
Nope, all good. So while Kathy gets a drink, I'm just going to welcome those who are watching us live on Facebook. So this is Kathi Tait. the bald warrior. And she is an amazing find. I just was scrolling through my Facebook, and there she is in all her glory. What caught my eye actually was the tattoo, needless to say, because see, we share passion for ink, and her amazing
Yes.
courage to come out and start this movement. We all want to know about alopecia. I mean, come on. If we're honest to each other, we stare, and then we are
Mm.
curious. And like what Kathi said, though, we think most people think it's stress related, and we get told that, oh no, it's due to stress, extreme traumatic stress. So if we would just go back a little and explain what alopecia is in
Sure.
your knowledge.
So it is, yeah, to my understanding, it is a genetic autoimmune disease. There are 13 types, so there are 13 genes that they've found so far. The most common ones are called androgynous alopecia, which is otherwise known as male or female pattern baldness. And the second most common is called alopecia areata, which has 3 stages. Areata is a patchy hair loss, the spots, which can move to totalis, which is your whole head, which can move to universalis, which is everything. Doesn't usually move backwards, but it can, because it did with me. My eyebrows grew back after I lost them. So, and I have a tiny bit of random body hair. So my body's gone from totalis to universalis and is kind of hovering between them. But only a small percent of areata cases progress all the way to universalis. So I know that's a big fear for people who have been diagnosed with areata and the patchiness, that they'll go completely bald, but only a few percent ever go completely bald. So it is worth going and finding out more for your own benefit, just to understand what is happening to you. But it is an autoimmune disease, which means our body fights our hair follicles in some way, and squeeze tight, hair can't get through. Now, it is said that we are physically still able to grow hair, but the condition stops it happening, and they don't really know why, which is why there's no cure. There's lots of different types of treatments you can try, and for many years, the doctors experimented on me. We tried all sorts of things, from vitamin regimes to chemical concoctions the doctors came up with, to scalp injections, to laser acupuncture, to iridology,
Wow.
trichology. We tried everything for me, and nothing ever stayed like it would work, and then it would start again.
Yeah.
So that brings me to an understanding that a lot of the picture is around your mental health and how you cope. And the fact remains that there is no cure. So the closer and faster that you can get to an acceptance of it being in your life,
Yeah.
and an acceptance that you now look different and this is the way it is for you, and try and sort of move past the fear and uncertainty of it into an acceptance, then the happier you are going to be in your life. I think that is absolutely the most important thing I can teach people. When
Yeah.
I finally accepted my baldness and came out of my wig closet, the freedom of my mental health it was such a relief, I have to say, because for 30 years I hid and pretended and kept a secret, and it was seriously damaging to my mental health. The freedom on the other side of that fear, when I just went, look, I've got to stop caring what other people think of me, because I'm putting my happiness in their hands.
That's
I got to
it.
take my power back.
That's it.
Once I did that, everything changed for me.
Yeah.
Everything, even the way I perceived what people were thinking changed.
Isn't it?
Everything changed. And it started opening up this whole new world of what mindset can do for us and help transform us. And it's especially important for people that are physically looking different in the social norm climate of whatever culture you've been brought up with. There are social norms around hair. There just is.
Yes.
And the more that we can work around those and help people to have an understanding and a compassion that we're not freaks, we're not sick with cancer, then the more comfortable, we will be to be our true selves. I know women who wouldn't dream, and I wouldn't have dreamed of going to a job interview bald, ever, for the fear of the repercussions, for the fear of not getting the job because of how I looked. It is such a common thing. I speak to women all the time, and that is a huge thing for them. Why? Men can go and get a job bald. Why should it matter what our hair looks like? It has nothing to do with our capabilities and skills.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So if we could go back and talk about, because you talked about, being in your wig closet for so long, how is it like growing up? Because I'm sure there will be people watching this live podcast or this live. You have a word podcast at the back, so I'm distracted. So I'm like, no, this video, I tell you, this video, who have children or or are young people, going through alopecia.
It is tough being a young person with this. The first thing I'm going to say is I got bullied really, really badly. One, because no one had ever heard of it and didn't know what it was. And two, because the boys thought it was a huge fun exercise to pull my wigs off me and call me names. Now, the way around that, I think, is twofold. One is you need to get the school on board. You need to educate the school, the teachers, the other kids. And I go and speak at school assemblies to do that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I think is fighting bullying. And bullying can be stopped when people stand up and say no. Stop treating my friend like that.
That's it.
The more people stay silent, the more bullying can continue. And I have looked at this from so many angles because, of the bullying I received and my son received, and it's almost rampant and expected. But actually, it can only happen when people. So I think that it's a twofold solution there, is just stick up for your friends. Do not stand by and be silent. Don't be scared. Just stand up and say something. And the other thing is education and awareness within the schools themselves. And, I found that the teachers and principals are only too happy to look and do that. And you'll often find primary schools have a crazy hat day or a crazy hair day.
They do.
Forever, right? They did
them
when I was a kid. They're still doing them now.
Yes.
Perfect day to get someone with alopecia to come and speak at your school. Now, both Karen and I are in Australia. In Australia, we have a whole foundation, and we have young people that are actually ambassadors for the foundation that will come and speak at your school wherever you are. And if you want me to come, just come and tell me. If you're in Brisbane or the Gold Coast or the Sunshine Coast, I can easily come and speak at your school. And I have a small window for Perth schools too in early May. So if you do want me to come and speak at a school, please reach out to me, because I would love to do that again.
Yeah. So if we go on to the next part, if we want to help people, what's the word, to communicate better or how to treat people with alopecia with compassion, we need to understand what is it. So instead of telling, so what are the myths around it? Like you mentioned just now, you do look like you have cancer. Like you've undergone chemo.
So really people associate female baldness with cancer treatments, because cancer treatments do often make your hair fall out.
That's
and
it.
Because there's no other known or widely known hair loss cause, they kind of make this assumption. And before I was tattooed, it was the question I got everywhere I went. Do you have cancer? Are you a survivor? And most of them were coming out of a place of compassion, because they knew somebody also with it who may or may not have survived. The others were coming from a place of curiosity.
Yep.
The important part here is that when I was in victim mind mode, that really, really hurt me, because I felt defensive about it.
Yep.
And I'm like, no, I don't have cancer. And that was hard for me too, because I had a sister who died of cancer. So it
That's
was a
right.
tough one. And that the tattoo stopped that. Now I don't get, do you have cancer? Now I get, did that hurt?
I know that was the first guilty. That was the first thing I asked because I thought it would be cool to get, a neck one, the one at the back. So
Yeah.
now tell me, how do you think is the best approach? How do we approach people with
If someone
alopecia?
is openly going bald or not worrying about covering it up, then they're probably most happy to speak to you and help you understand it. If someone's wearing a wig, and it might be obvious because some wigs aren't that fantastic, don't say anything because you're just going to embarrass them. They're still in a very hurt place where they're not accepting it and they're trying to just pretend it's not there to the outside. So I would say if you can see it's a wig, and or maybe it's drawn on eyebrows or fake eyelashes, don't just assume it's for vanity. It might be because they're trying to make themselves feel better. And I understand, I've been in that stage, and it's a stage that you have to kind of go through at your own pace. But if it is possible to start a conversation, I would send them my way, because what I do is try and empower and inspire these women. A lot of groups out there kind of mollycoddle them and keep them in their victim mindset. Oh, it's okay, you can wear wigs. I'm
No,
like,
you
no,
won't. Oh, no,
shave it
no.
off and take your power back.
I can so see you
I'm
do
about
that. Oh my
helping.
God. Do you have a resident tattooist?
No, they're all from different people. Yeah, I would love a resident
You
tattooist.
would have a resident tattooist. My tattooist will love you.
I would love to just help people find that self-acceptance. And so back to your question about how to treat people that you see. Look, it might be cancer treatment possible. It's most likely they'll be wearing a scarf if it's cancer treatment. If it's alopecia, they may be wearing a scarf, or they may have a head sort of, turban-y type thing, or they may be having a wig because they're not yet comfortable about. It's very vulnerable to
It
be
is.
bald. It's very, very vulnerable. And if I throw it out there to everybody who does not have alopecia, would you shave your head? Only
No.
about 5% of people will say yes,
Yeah, I
because
wouldn't.
they're so scared about the reactions. Right now, here's a good story, because my best friend in Perth 4 years ago, when I started the Bald Warrior movement, she went, I'm shaving my head in support of you too.
Wow.
And she said it absolutely changed her life. Just the fact of going through the experiment, and within a week her hair was growing back, and we actually called it Velcro head. Because once you shave your head, you've just got the stubble, like your t-shirt stick to it. But she said it changed her life because it changed the way she felt about herself and removed that huge focus of external beauty. And she started to see, with that vulnerability of the hair gone, which is so much of what we think our femininity is.
Isn't
she said
it?
it absolutely transformed the way she felt about herself. So
I'm
I
sure.
do say to everybody out there, be brave and just shave it once. It's going to grow back if you don't have alopecia. So,
Hey, when you actually have a movement,
fear.
like Australia-wide movement that we collect women and we all do it at once, why not?
That'd be amazing.
Wouldn't it be fun?
Oh, a mass live on Facebook head shave.
Oh,
I've
that would
dreamed
be
of doing that.
epic.
Volunteers, hit me up. Let's do it. I would love to do that. That'd be amazing. With or without alopecia, it doesn't matter.
No, that's
it's so
it.
empowering. Now, if you do have alopecia and your hair is falling out, it is traumatic. Watching your hair fall out and watching it land all over the floor and on your pillow is super traumatic. Watching and knowing it's doing it every day. That's the time to take your power back and just go, nah, shave it off. Then it can't fall out on me. And I'm taking my power back from the trauma and taking some control over it. And I can guarantee that whatever you are scared of before you do it will be gone the minute it is done. I guarantee it. The fear is always worse than we think it actually is.
That's right.
Fear builds up in our head. It's a thing we do to ourselves. We make it this giant big thing. And And I'm all about embracing fear. If you step into that fear and just go for it, you will find the fear just dissolves.
That's it. But if you're too scared, I have found Kathi and put it online for you. If you're too scared, you know where to find her.
Yes, I will talk you through it. I will help you prepare mentally. This doesn't have to be done in a day. Look, you might need to talk to me for a month before you're ready to do it. Cam, my friend, she cancelled twice, postponed, because she did go through with it, but the fear was very real, even for her. So it's a thing, but we can deal with that.
It is absolutely a thing, though. So I want to go to the next part before we end this, because this segment is also made for parents with children who is suffering from alopecia. So it's I wouldn't even, because I didn't think of it. Of course, Kathi did. She thinks of everything. That's why we pick speakers who knows what they're doing. We just let them take the lead. So tell us, if you're talking to parents through this platform, what would you say to them?
Yeah, look, like I said, I've had extensive conversations with my mum about this. And I think one of the biggest things for parents is they feel helpless, and they feel, they feel for their child who's going through it. Now, you got to remember that whatever you show that child kind of gets projected onto them, especially when they're really young, because children's sense of self up until they're 7 is embedded in their parents. So it's really important that you show acceptance and you show that the hair isn't who they are. That was a key lesson for me. No one ever told me that I am not my hair.
That's right.
So instead of wishing for your child they look like everybody else, instead of doing that, instead of sticking a wig on them and pretending under social norms, instead of doing that, help your child realize they are not their hair, that they're special and amazing and have their own set of gifts. And just because they look different does not make them any different otherwise to everybody else, because we all have our thing. You just happen to be able to see ours. Okay, and we're not the only ones that you can see. Like there's hundreds of things out there. It's just that alopecia is just hidden so much right now. We're perpetuating this. The more of us just come out and go, no, this is what's happening to me. And a lot of the younger generation are, and it's just so amazing to see. But for parents, it's such a delicate subject, because I know as a parent myself, we want our kids to fit in. We want them to make friends. We don't want them to be bullied. We want them to grow self-confidence. And the best thing the parent can do is focus on the mental health of the child and the self-acceptance and the understanding that they are not their hair and that beauty standards are bullshit. Can I swear?
Absolutely.
Like,
swear away.
Let's smash these social norms around beauty standards, because am I not gorgeous?
Absolutely.
I'm amazing. And so are every one of you guys out there with alopecia. No matter what type you have or what stage you're in, you are not your hair. You're an amazing human being. And it does not matter what you look like. And you know what the best thing is? Straight away, it weeds out the dickheads, because they can't cope. So you'll know straight away by somebody's reaction to you whether you want them to be your friend or not.
Absolutely, isn't it?
Use it to your advantage. Let's take our power back, people.
That's it. I totally agree. So thank you for talking to us today, Kathi. I absolutely admire your courage, and a lot of people have gone through, issues or traumatic events, but they don't often find the calling nor the courage to come out and do what you do. So as you know, this is my passion project. I'm not planning to make like shit of money out of this. My greatest wish is that the conversations like that can be had, and that we can help more people by having conversations openly. So Kathi will now share with you what she has in terms of, I think you've got a book or something that you can help them with. Yeah.
Whether you have alopecia or not, you're welcome to this. But it is, especially for my alopecians. You're my people, my tribe. On my website, baldwarrior.net, if you go up to freebies at the top, there's 2 ebooks that I've put together. Now, one is understanding alopecia. And so I've compiled some, facts and figures that I have found around the 13 types, because as I said, there are 13 genes. They're classified sort of differently, and I've tried to set it out in a way that's pretty easy to understand. So if you've been diagnosed with alopecia, but you don't know what the hell else is going on, go and grab the ebook, because I think it will help you get a bit of an understanding around medically what is happening to you. Now, it is pulled off the internet, but I have referenced everything I found. So you can go further and do more reading. And also I'll say here that trichologists are a type of medical specialists that specialize in analyzing hair. So that may be worth your while thinking about visiting one of them. The second one I have is called The Art of Embracing Alopecia. And it's my sort of version of here's how I took my power back and you can too. So go and grab those. They're absolutely free and they always will be. And I hope that, everyone goes and downloads them and reads them, because I created them to help people, to help understand, to help take, that sort of fear away from not knowing what is happening to you. Spread them out, give them away. Do whatever you like with them. Give them to people who don't have alopecia and are asking if you want. Let's educate everybody. So they're there for you guys. And also, I just want to quickly mention, if you're an alopecian out there also owning your amazingness, I'm doing a book later in the year called 100 Faces of Alopecia, and I'm looking for people from around the world who've embraced their alopecia and are going to inspire other people. So on the website, there's a place where you can go, yes, I want to be in the book. So please tell me if you want to come and be in the book.
That's it. How amazing is that shout out, right? So if you are interested to be in the book, get in there quickly. And I think this wraps up the interview for today. Thank you so much, Kathi, for being with us, and thank you for sharing your amazing journey. And let's hope that this conversation helps more people out there. And if you're looking for her link, it will be in the comments, either on Facebook or on YouTube. So I'll see you next week with our next guest. Bye.